Hello, you're listening to Everyday Superpower, a place we can learn about body language and non-verbal communication. We keep it plain and simple, get straight to the point. So click like, click subscribe, and feel free to leave a comment if anything comes to mind during this video. You know it's all important information and you will become incredible. You'll become superhuman, trust me. You'll be like the Incredible Hulk after learning all these videos, all the information from these videos. So let's get on with it. We're talking about touch. Once again, I've done a few videos on touch, but we're going to recap touching and the increase of touching. And let's talk about it. So has the girl you like touched you? Has the man you like touched you? In what way have they touched you? Has it blagged your mind, all right? These are the feelings you can invoke in others by touching them, you see. Flip the script, all right? So, touching. Has the touch rate increased? Okay, has the touch rate decreased? Was it a one-time thing? Did they never come close to you and now they've just brushed against you? Have they placed their hands on you? There's so many variations as to what could have gone on, all right? So increased touching will indicate a desire of that individual to create a bond of some sort. Maybe to receive something, okay? Whether that be material or emotional in nature, okay? You can influence others with the power of touch. It'll vary depending on where you are. I'm from the UK, okay? Nobody touches each other here, all right? We don't go around hugging each other, kissing each other on the cheek. We do none of that, okay? We stay so far away from each other. The only place you're going to see people touching each other who don't know each other or aren't close to each other are when they're crammed like sardines in London on the tube, all right? And I've done videos as how that's going to affect the psyche in comparison to someone who lives in the countryside and so on and so forth in my video catalogue. Feel free to click my YouTube channel and browse that if that is of interest, okay? So the power of touch will strengthen bonds and potentially offer comfort given that it's not an uncomfortable circumstance, all right? Maybe the initial touch may be somewhat uncomfortable in a positive way, all right? I'm sure we've all experienced that. But if you are consistently placing a uncomfortable spell on others, that's not good, that's creepy, innit? So you need to be able to read the room and understand when you're doing that. Now, we aren't all highly educated on social dynamics and all of this, ridiculousness, right? When I was younger and I knew nothing about this, I definitely played the role of, giving a hug when it wasn't needed to somebody I was attracted to, and so on and so forth, making somebody squirm and that. And it's not a good person to be, all right? Don't get me wrong, I wasn't a bloody, offender, but I didn't read the room. And I was that fella, that can I have a hug guy, all right? Not on a regular basis, but, it happened, all right? So, as a general rule, touches further away from the core of the body are more acceptable, okay? So, as we know, the ventral side, so the front side of a human being, that is the chest, the torso, stomach area, and the groin, and so on and so forth. That is where we protect subconsciously, all right, as it houses our internal organs, all right? So there's a lot of evolutionary meaning as to why we protect that. I've got plenty of videos, plenty of references on that for you to have a look into, but we don't touch there directly because that's going to trigger that survival instinct within the person we're supposedly trying to be friends with, okay? So feel free to touch the arm, maybe just above the elbow, tends to be the safest spot, right? And yeah, so with the right circumstances, with the right people, you'll be able to wiggle your way in and have a little more freedom, okay, as it starts to become more so of a territorial thing, especially regarding dating, all right, as the possession begins of both sides, okay? You can create a cooperation within individuals by involving yourself with a slight touch. When we speak of proxemics, right? If you are to slightly touch an individual, you've involved yourself within their intimate space. With being in their intimate space, you now become an intimate individual within that person's world. It can backfire. You can become, problematic. You may repulse an individual by doing so, as it might seem intrusive, or you might create a closeness that not many people have provoked. And as I referenced earlier with where I'm from, it's so uncomfortable for the general population to do so that if I was to do so, it would place me, good or bad, in a specification of individual that 99% of the population wouldn't be in, okay? So by default, I've already placed myself as this standalone, striking individual just by that single touch, okay? It can be seen as a power play between men, alright? It can be seen as a power play between anyone, to be fair with you, but the boss will touch the subordinate, and the subordinate won't tend to touch the boss, alright? And that will apply through any sort of authoritarian hierarchy. Okay, because the boss is able to intrude and break through the boundaries of those whom are below, whereas the vice versa isn't, societally acceptable. Okay, isn't biologically acceptable. Right? When it comes to seduction, let's say a woman slightly brushes against you. What does that do? That makes her present. That directs your focus and attention, your concentration on that individual who has involved themselves in your space and literally touched you. Just by walking by and brushing against you, you have now absorbed the information you needed by observing that person momentarily. Why have you done that? Because your brain needs to ensure that this person isn't a potential threat. You see? Very powerful. I've spoken in the previous touching videos the benefits when it comes to, cooperation and coercing an individual to get what you want. I've spoken about the waitress who touches you. If you've experienced that, you might want to check my earlier videos on touch, okay? Spoke of some personal examples. When we touch another individual in an indirect manner, we are claiming ownership. Alright? If that person allows us to touch them, if they are not repulsed, but they allow the maintenance so they don't move here or there, they are fine with it. Or if they move closer in attraction, they are allowing that ownership, that possession. Alright? They can do it to be fine with you, to be friendly, alright? But you should be able to see through the general observation of that individual as to whether they're really fine, okay? So they may stand still, yeah, but is that a freeze response? Have they frozen? Are they now not moving freely in regards to that touch, okay? You should be able to observe that. Have you triggered a threat within that individual? Alright? A nervous fidget is a bit different to a frozen on the spot solidification. Alright? When dating, you don't touch that woman straight away. You might give her a hug. You might give her a handshake, which in means is a straight jump into that intimate touch space. You're now touching each other from the get-go, which is a very powerful means to get started in a relationship, right? But I'm sure you're not walking in there hand in hand and rubbing up all up against each other. The last date I was on, sit across the table, You converse through some means or another. A conversation is brought up upon the hands. I like the jewellery. Your fingers are bloody nice, you know what I mean? Whatever you want to conjure. And without further ado, you might have a slight tap of the hand. You've already started to reach into each other's personal zones subconsciously through the closing proximities of your drinks or your menus or whatever is being used as a conductor of your love, closing in, okay? You're not pushing each other away, you're pulling each other in until you touch. And then a little touch of the hand turns into a consistent, prolonged connection of the hand, which turns into a holding of the hand, which turns into a holding of the body, which turns into a holding of the lips, and so on and so forth. You see how it works? How can we escalate a relationship to intercourse without that initial tap of the body? I hope this was thought-provoking. I hope there's some information here to consider and to meditate on. If so, leave a comment, click like, click subscribe. Until next time, goodbye.